everyone, welcome back to Kayla Beans Books. I'm Brittany, and today it's time for my birthday book corner. So today is my birthday, and I'm celebrating with you guys by doing a book corner. March has been kind of crazy. I only read 2 books in total. I am currently reading one, but with how crazy busy we've been over the last couple of weeks, I haven't been doing a lot of reading. It's been kind of on the back burner for me, and that's going to be the trend going forward now that we are ramping up more of the wedding planning as things are slowly opening up and kind of getting back to normal, or what the new normal is going to be. So hopefully everything goes as planned this year. I'm feeling a lot more hopeful than I was at this point last year, and I'm really excited. My bridal shower is next month, and then my bachelorette party is in May, and then of course the wedding's in June. So we are less than 80 days out, which is crazy, and I'm super excited. So my reading's going to be a little sporadic here and there when I have time. Hopefully I can continue keeping up with all the books that I want to read. I did pick up a couple of books at the end of February, beginning of March. I can't remember exactly when I picked them up, but I know I didn't mention them before. So the 2 books that I picked up were Majesty by Katharine McGee, and this of course is the sequel to American Royals. And then I also picked up one of my anticipated reads for 2021, and that of course is All the Tides of Fate by Adalyn Grace, and this is actually my current read. And then for my birthday, Andy and Justin got me the illustrated copy of Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, and I'm super excited. These are copies that Callison introduced me to, and I'm super in love with the artwork. So in the back of my mind, I wanted to start collecting them. So my friends kind of picked up a birthday present for me, and I'm truly appreciative. So the first story I jumped into in the beginning of the month was Majesty by Katharine McGee, and this of course is the sequel to American Royals, and I gave this a 3.5 out of 5. I truly did enjoy this story. I really liked getting the follow-up and getting a lot of the answers, and there were some suspenseful parts when it came to the relationships and kind of going back and forth between the personal relationships outside of their romantic relationships and then their relationships with each other, because of course we're following Sam, Nina, Beatrice, and Jack. So we're following the 4 women, the same as American Royals. We're getting closure to what happened at the ending of American Royals. However, there's a lot that happens in Majesty that I'm not a huge fan of. We're getting answers to relationships, but they're not really diving into the ones that we thought they would be. And that's kind of where it lost me. There were a lot of moments where I'm like, but wait, you're supposed to want to be with the other person, and it's just not going the way I thought it was going to. And there were also moments where I felt like we aren't getting what the characters actually want, the way they were written in American Royals. There's a lot of growth, and I understand that. That's part of one thing that I really look for with stories is the character development. However, it just felt like it was going backwards instead of going forwards in some parts. I also was kind of missing the big confrontation between 2 characters, and I felt like it just fell flat. And there were a lot of moments where I'm like, this isn't what I thought it was going to be. So that's why it's a little lower and a little bit more of a disappointment. However, I did really enjoy seeing more of the character development, seeing their relationships grow outside of the royal family, and kind of seeing what it could have been like. It's just the ending didn't seem exactly how I pictured it would, and I'm really missing some things. I really hope that we get more from these 4 characters, even if it's a collection of short stories like 5 years later, and kind of getting more of a wrap up of what happened. But right now I just hope that we do get more, because I don't feel like I got the proper closure that I have gotten with other stories. The next book I picked up was Love Her or Lose Her by Tessa Bailey, and this is a companion to Fix Her Up. So we are introduced to these characters in the first one, but it's not a direct sequel. And I gave this a 4 out of 5. I truly adored this story. I really did love the way the relationship is set up. We follow Rosie and Dominic. They're high school sweethearts, and they got married right out of school. Dominic was a Marine, and he was stationed overseas, and Rosie's been the housemaker as well as working. And she's always had this dream of opening up her restaurant, and recently their relationship has just been very one-dimensional. They are still very intimate, but they don't talk. There's not a lot of communication, and it just seems like Rosie goes to work, comes home, she cooks and cleans and goes to bed, and on Tuesdays that's when they are intimate with each other, and that is basically what's holding their relationship together, when one day she's like, I can't do this anymore. And that is where the story picks up, is we get introduced to their tension in Fix Her Up. We definitely know that there's something going on between Rosie and Dominic, and the guys even touch on it too, but we don't get any intimate details. This story, we are opening with Rosie's decision to leave and not knowing if she even wants to try to fix it. So that's what the story is about, is she gives him an ultimatum like, let's go to therapy, thinking, oh, he's not going to talk about his feelings, and he is very adamant like, no, I want to keep you as my wife. I want you to be with me. And so we get that dynamic. I loved their relationship. There were moments, however, where I felt like it was a little manipulative and maybe even a little bit emotionally abusive. So I'm just like, I don't like this. The fire was quickly put out with that. Even Dominic does admit that he had controlling and manipulative tendencies, and that's what they were working on, not just in therapy, but on his own with his buddies. The grand gesture moment was probably one of my favorites that I've read in a long time. The grand gesture did remind me a lot of some that have been in the Bromance Book Club series. However, it was still really unique to Dominic and Rosie, and I absolutely adored it. And her grand gesture to him was beautiful. You don't always see the female characters doing a grand gesture for the male interest, and Tessa did a fantastic job of wrapping up the story at the end with Rosie doing something big and showing Dominic how much she truly does love him, and it was so beautiful. But I will say that there are some moments where it is a little more manipulative and controlling, and you're not really sure if this is a healthy or toxic relationship. But I'm not going to put that as the forefront of the story by any means. I didn't get the vibe that their entire relationship was toxic. There were just moments where it did feel like maybe they aren't going to make it, but overall I did really enjoy it from beginning to end, and I highly recommend them. Currently I am reading All the Tides of Fate by Adalyn Grace, and this is the sequel to All the Stars and Teeth from last year. I absolutely adore the beginning of the story. However, I feel very lost. I thought I remembered a lot of the story because I absolutely adored it last year. It was part of my top 10 last year. Like, I love All the Stars and Teeth. However, there are a lot of intimate details that I don't remember that are coming up in this story. I think that's why it's taking me so long to get through it, is because I'm like, what is happening? So I think I'm gonna actually take a step back and reread All the Stars and Teeth. I do have the audiobook as well, so I might listen to it while I'm on my way to and from work, just so I can kind of get a refresher, because I'm kind of confused, which is really weird because normally when I'm reading sequels, I can jump back and be like, oh yeah, I definitely remember this, and I'm lost. I just want to make sure I have that connection and really fall in love with the story again, because right now I'm not digging it, and that's not good, because I really do think this is an amazing sequel. It's just, I feel like it'd be better if I remembered a lot of more of the details from the first one. Going forward, I'm kind of just throwing the TBR up in the air based on what I'm in the mood for. I'm probably going to be reading a lot more adult romance here in the next couple of weeks, or anything that's just kind of catching my eye. So I'm not really going to set anything. I'm not going to go through any set floating TBR just because I don't have one. I have no idea what I'm going to be in the mood to read. So I'm just going to kind of play it by ear. So that is everything for today. I'm going to spend the rest of my birthday just kind of hanging out with Bologna and Stevie and kind of relaxing and getting ready for the next couple of weeks, because it's going to be crazy. Of course, be sure to head over to our channel and subscribe. We post new videos every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. Head over to Goodreads and Instagram. All our individual and joint accounts will be linked below. And of course, join our Serpent and Badger book club. We host that on Goodreads, and that link will be in the description below as well. Until next time, everyone. Bye.